What's the deal with giving up carbs when you become keto? Hi, if you're new to this channel, I'm Slick Nick. I have a master's in bro science. That means I'm not a doctor, I'm not a dietitian, I'm not a nutritionist, not a personal trainer, none of those things. In fact, most of those people I just named probably won't respect me. Not that I'm looking for anyone's respect, and not that I'm looking for anyone to become keto because of anything I say. If anything, I think identity protective cognition will kick in and you think, that guy's crazy. I don't want to be like that guy. I'm definitely not want to be keto. And no, this is not reverse psychology. I really don't care what you do. I'm a libertarian. I don't care. I'm the one that's approaching 40. I'm the one that's experimenting on my own body in front of the whole world to see, for your entertainment and insight on whether this thing will help me continue to reach my fitness goals. Now, last year, I went from size 34 pants to size 31, which was exactly my goal for 2020. I reached my goal. 2021, it's to get down to 17% body fat. Right now, I'm around 20. Based on comparing my stomach to other strangers' stomachs on the internet, that sounds really weird. But yeah, you can do that. You can type in, 20% body fat, and you can look at it. You can look at other men's chests and stomachs. And I want to be between 15 and 20. I want to be in between. I'm willing to put forth the discipline and sacrifice required to get to 17. 15, I don't know that's worth it. But 17, I'd be happy with that. I know what my goals are, and I think it's important to have reachable goals and to have a strategy to do that. Of course, keto is my strategy to do that, right? We'll find out by the end of the year, won't we? I mean, either this thing's gonna work or it's not. I mean, I seriously doubt I'm just gonna plateau and keep doing the same thing. If I plateau, I'm going to alter this. I'm going to change this to where it is going to work for me. So here's going back to the beginning of the video. People will say, oh, I could never do that. I could never give up carbs. I love carbs too much. To which, as a libertarian, I just kind of smile and nod because I don't care. But for me internally, I say, people do what they really want to do. They find a way to do the thing, whatever the thing is, whatever the thing they want to do, they'll do it. And this doesn't just apply to what you eat or don't eat or working out or not working out. It's going to come down to you sacrificing your time to help someone in need, especially when it's an inconvenience. Do you really want to do that? Maybe you don't. But in your heart, you do want to help that person. You want to help them more than knowing that you could have helped them and didn't help them. So even when you're helping someone else, if you really want to do it, that's the thing that you really want to do. You will find a way to do the thing that you really want to do. That's what I believe. That's what I believe motivates people as far as showing up and doing the thing. So that's why I personally am 100% against New Year's resolutions. If you were serious about doing the thing, you'd start right this second. You wouldn't wait for an arbitrary date on a calendar. That's how I operate. So I could never give up carbs. Let's talk about that because I'm living this keto life. I know what it's like. So imagine, of course, going back to the 5 pillars of keto. Number 1, filling up on fat and fiber. Number 2, fasting. Number 3, drinking like a gallon of water a day, which for me is 2 of these. Walking 2 to 3 miles a day, and making sure you get, for me, at least 7 hours of sleep. Between 7 and 8 is what I'm aiming for. So if you want to check out that video, I'm trying to remember to put the link here so you can watch the original video where I explain that in detail. So again, going back to, I could never survive without carbs. I need carbs. You know who says that? People who don't do keto. I've noticed so much criticism against keto comes from people who don't do keto or didn't stick with it. I am type 1 Enneagram personality. That means I am committed. I care more about finding my version of truth than I do even feeling loved and accepted. I know that sounds psychotic or like I'm an alien. By the way, I wrote a song about this here on the channel. You're welcome to check it out. That I recently wrote on here. Called Space, Man. That's the name of it if you want to look it out. Seriously, I sing, I write, I play guitar. It exists, and it was about that. So, going back to the sugar thing, people who say they can never cut out carbs are not people doing it, But when you're like me and you're living it, let me tell you, okay, intermittent fasting, right? So I'm waking up, I'm drinking usually like half of one of these, which is a quarter of a gallon of water when I first wake up. Then black coffee with some MCT oil in it, which is just pure fat, so it doesn't trigger my insulin. It doesn't make me hungry, and it doesn't allow me to store fat. Okay? And then I'm drinking another quarter gallon of water. And then at noon, I have more black coffee with some more of this in it and some butter in it, so it's even more fat. Then I have some apple cider vinegar at 1. Again, no calories, no insulin. And then I eat my first meal at 2 and my second one at 5:30, and I'm done usually around 7. Okay? So it's like a 19/5 fast. I'm fasting 19 hours and eating during a 5-hour window. But here's the thing. If you don't eat carbs, you don't get hungry. It's circular reasoning. I can never do keto because I need to eat carbs. Well, the thing is, if you don't eat carbs and you do fasting and you just eat fat, you're not hungry because the insulin, when it's spiked, that makes you hungry. See what a paradox that is? So if you just have fat and protein, you're not hungry. That's how it works. So is it that I just established that I'm a very disciplined person. Okay, I did just say that. But I'm telling you, in theory, it's kind of like I'm cheating, because when you do this, when you eat just fat for the majority of the morning, of course, those happen to be the fat burning hours. And yes, I have a master's in bro science, right? I'm not claiming to be a doctor. Don't need the doctor's approval. This is me doing what I want to do, and you can do whatever you want to do. I don't need you to be keto. What I'm doing is explaining the whole concept is by cutting out the carbohydrates, and I do between 25 and 50 a day, by the way. It's like a half a sweet potato and some blueberries. That's pretty much the majority of my carbohydrates. But when you do that, and for the very end of the day, mind you, my body is basically burning its own fat all day, or the fat that I'm consuming all day. And I'm not really getting hungry because, again, the insulin isn't kicking in. So it's circular reasoning to say I could never do keto because I need my carbs. I'd be hungry. I need those to function on. Well, yes, the body can use fuel from carbohydrates. But what happens if you no longer allow that to be an option and only give it what it really wants, which is fat? Well, then it operates more efficiently. And man, I can think so much better and see the world so much more clearly. I mean, I'm in sales. I was the number 4 out of like 40 last year for my company. Okay? Recruiting, to be specific. And most of that time I was intermittent fasting, and I wasn't eating any carbs until the very end of the day. I've been doing this for a while. I just didn't talk about it openly. So this is what it's, and that's why I always say in my videos, it's not, I don't need you to be keto. The thing is, I'm experimenting on myself for your entertainment and your insight. This is working for me. Is it for everybody? No, because not everybody wants to do it. People do the thing that they want to do, and they find a way to make it work. Funny thing is about keto, it works pretty easily when you do it, but you'd have to want to do it. I'm doing it, it's working, and I love it. Your comments?